in the Jodi Arias trial doing her best to make sure her sentencing retrial won't be a media circus this time around, at least not as big as it was last time. Today, Judge Sherry Stevens banned live TV coverage of the proceedings. She also says she won't sequester that new jury. The first jury found that Arias murdered Travis Alexander back in May, but couldn't decide if she should live or die for that crime. Arias due back in court sometime next week. Joining us now to talk more about this, Fox 10 legal experts, Monica Lindstrom, Brian Foster, thank you so much for being here. This is going to be a different trial this time around. I think, number one, because no video cameras, still cameras only, no electronic devices, that means no tweeting. How is this different? Monica, let's start with you.
Oh, this one is so frustrating for me because those of us that will be in the courtroom, we can't even use our iPads. We literally have to use just pen and paper. So there's no audio recordings. The reporters can't have the regular personal recording devices they used to have. You can't do anything on your iPhone or any other phone. You can't have an iPad. The only electronics allowed in there
are none.
None.
Right? Your watch, your wristwatch,
yes.
That's about all you get.
Yes.
And Brian, I mean, so what they're trying to do is try to move this trial along. A lot of people said, well, it went on forever because everybody was playing to the cameras. You think that played into it?
I believe 100%. I don't think that played into her ruling, but I think that clearly the trial is going to be a lot shorter. I mean, the attorneys, you know, the judge, everybody involved, the witnesses, I think were grandstanding, and that definitely led to a lengthier trial. The reporters are just going to have to do it the old-fashioned way with a pen and a piece of paper.
Right. I can still do that.
And they can take still photos, but nothing electronic, and so it'll be a completely different trial.
Okay, a couple other things. No change of venue, and one thing I thought was interesting, the judge basically ruling that, hey, just because there's been a lot of coverage doesn't mean that you've got a prejudiced jury, Brian.
Absolutely. The judge found that in denying the moving it to another county, that there's no indication that there was a circus-like atmosphere. I'm not sure that I agree with that, but the judge made that finding and also found that there was no indication that jurors in Coconino or any other county here in the state would know any less about the case than in Maricopa County. So I think that was absolutely the correct ruling.
Right. And the first thing they're going to hear, Monica, when they walk in is this woman you're dealing with has been convicted of first-degree murder and it was found to be especially cruel. So how much more prejudicial does it get? Also, no sequestration. They're not going to go away. The judge saying that it basically is too expensive and it's too much of a hardship for the jurors.
And since we're not going to have TV cameras in there 24/7 recording everything and blasting it out everywhere, you don't need to sequester the jury because there's not the potential problem of bias and prejudice and hearing things that they're not supposed to hear. So we don't need to sequester the jury anymore.
All right, excellent as always. Thank you, Brian and Monica.